hey, what I say? I want to say, first of all, thanks to Rick Scott and the whole team for being here at the NRSC. Ronna, thank you for being here. It's great to see you. I want to give a special shout out to Jane Timken for being here. Really appreciate it, Jane. Really appreciate everything you've done. And of course, you guys know better than anybody. I'm going to go fire Chuck Schumer. Madison's going to fire Nancy Pelosi. What a beautiful baby they have. It's sort of, you know, it's amazing to me how much energy and passion Madison brings to this race. The fact that she's out campaigning at all, you would never believe she had a baby 4 weeks ago, and here she is getting us fired up and getting us ready to win this race. So let's talk about the stakes of this election, and let's talk about what we're really fighting for. A lot of you guys know my story. Rick kind of talked about it a little bit. Look, I'm a product of the American dream. I'm a product of a country where if you work hard and play by the rules, you can achieve great things, whether you come from a rich or a poor family, a black or a white family. And what an incredible thing it is that it's possible for our kids to achieve their dreams in this country that all of us love. But I got to say, the very thing that made it possible for me to succeed in this country, the very thing that made it possible for me to become a husband and a father, the thing that I really wanted to do when I was a kid was give my kids the things that I didn't have when I was growing up. And that's the way in which this state and this country has been best to me. But that doesn't happen without careful investment. It doesn't happen unless we preserve the American dream into the next generation. What we're doing right now, ladies and gentlemen, what the leadership of this country is doing is plundering what our grandparents and our parents gave us. And it's time on November the 8th to fight back and take the fight to the Democrats in Washington, D.C. That's exactly what we're going to do. We have to. The country depends on it. God bless you. I mean, just think about this. The law and order that we cast aside. I'm 38 years old. For the first 36 years of my life, we had violent crime going down, murders going down, carjacking's going down, and now they're going in the wrong direction. Why? Because our leadership decided to declare war on the police. I think we ought to declare war on the violent criminals and let the police go and do their job, right? Tim Ryan and Joe Biden said that they would not raise taxes on the middle class. What a joke. Now, it's wrong on its own terms. They raised taxes on the middle class like 4 weeks ago with the so-called Inflation Reduction Act. They sicked 87,000 IRS agents after middle-class Ohioans to collect those tax increases. And even if you ignore that, the inflation that we're experiencing right now to the tune of $6,000 a year falls hardest on the middle class in this state. And it's not because we have any problem in this country except for bad leadership. What's going on in this country right now is that we have leaders who shut down our energy sector, leaders who raised taxes and borrowed and spent too much money, leaders who set violent criminals loose, and leaders who decided to throw open the gates of the United States southern border. And I happen to think that's not leadership, that's cowardice. Let's fire these guys in a couple of weeks and get the Now, this is, of course, it's great to be at the Stark County GOP headquarters. Great to be at the Madison Jesse Otto GOP headquarters here. But maybe we should have invited Tim Ryan, because he's a Republican now, right? That's what he says in all of his TV advertisements. We were with Donald Trump Jr. a couple weeks ago. He said, JD, why didn't you invite Tim Ryan? I heard from his TV commercials he's my biggest fan now. And that is the battle in our Senate race, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to elect our governor, our secretary of state, our attorney general, our great Supreme Court justices, Sharon Kennedy, Pat DeWine, and Pat Fisher. But in the Senate, we have a slightly different task because we have a Democrat who is running as far away from the Democrat Party as he possibly can. And who can blame him, right? Who can blame him after the last 2 years of failed Democrat leadership? I saw his commercial recently where he said that he only agrees with his wife 70% of the time. So, well, Tim, that must be awkward at home because you agree with Nancy Pelosi 100% of the time. That's what the voting record says. But look, here is the problem. This guy is not the moderate that he pretends to be. He is not an independent voice in Washington, D.C. He's a guy who bends the knee to Nancy Pelosi and does what he's told. And if we give him a promotion to the Senate, which we're not going to do, he's going to do the exact same thing with Chuck Schumer. And I happen to think that Tim Ryan, he's lived off the government teat for long enough. Let's send him back to Youngstown. Let's force him to get a real job. And let's promote leads in the United States. I want to close, ladies and gentlemen. I've got a job to do, of course. It's to get out there. It's to talk to as many people. It's to make sure that we stay on the airwaves, radio, TV, digital media, so that we can reach those all-important undecided voters. But here's the thing that I'd ask from each and every one of you. Go out there and talk to as many people as possible and tell them two things. Number one, why you're voting for me, and number two, why you're voting against Tim Ryan. As much as the Democrats have the biggest super PAC in the world on their side, and of course I'm talking about the corporate media.
That's right.
We have the people and we have the truth. But that only works if we get out there and do the work necessary to get people to the polls, to tell them that truth. And if every single one of you leave here and text or call or stop by the house of 10 friends and make sure they get to the polls and make sure they vote for me, I believe we're going to win this race, and we're going to win it in a very, very convincing fashion. So we've got 10 days. 10 days to sprint to the finish line and save this country. And I'd maybe just leave it on this note. A good friend of mine who's very influential to me returning to my Christian faith once told me about a year and a half ago when I was whining about the condition this country was in. And I was talking about how Biden was doing this and Biden was doing that and Chuck Schumer was doing that. And he kind of snapped me out of it and said, JD, despair is a sin. Thought a lot about that the last year and a half, because in this moment, ladies and gentlemen, we're not called to despair about this future, this country. We're not called to be depressed about this country. We're called to get in the fight and save it in 10 days. That's exactly what we're going to do. Let's get to work. Now, let me kick it back over to the great Madison Jessiata.